I'm here with Peter van der Werf from Robeco Institutional Asset Management out of Rotterdam. He's an engagement specialist there, rather an unique role and an interesting one. Let's get to talking about that. And I mean, maybe to start with, Peter, you could tell us about how you take sustainability into account in investment decisions at Robeco.
Well, we take sort of a very integrated approach where sustainability is at the core of looking at an individual company and an investment case. It's part of our, let's say, preferred subsectors within a sector which we would look at. So we already have a classification there. We tend to have SI research analysts with Robeco SAM in Zurich, my colleagues there, who, let's say, take really a sector overview on sustainability and feed that back into our equity and credit analysts' work. And then myself as an engagement specialist, I sort of pick up the points which they raise around sustainability, which they think there is room for improvement with companies. And then I'll reach out to companies and enter in a constructive dialogue for, let's say, the course of 3 years to really work towards preset engagement objectives, which we think the company should meet to improve over the long term in terms of sustainability.
So this is not on the fringes. This is not something that happens on the sidelines, like with a certain amount of money put aside into a socially responsible investment fund. This is integrated into across asset classes, across styles throughout the institution.
Exactly. This is covering all our different asset classes where we see a certain way how we can integrate ESG into the investment process. So we have sort of our quant model strategies where there is a lighter way of integrating by taking the Robeco SAM scores and using those to take part of the universe out, which scores lowest, up into, let's say, our global equity strategies where it's fully integrated into all the different parts of the investment process.
Okay, now in terms of your standard list of questions, now you have your own specific areas of expertise and supply chain and labor rights, I understand.
Exactly.
But what are some of the things that you start out asking companies, including perhaps the governance of sustainability?
Yeah, I think governance sort of works over all the different elements. So it's important for governance of environmental management, of social management, and of course the broader company as a whole, where corporate governance is really a crucial element. And it's there where we look for board accountability for sustainability, that we see if it's really sort of a lip service to, let's say, the more sophisticated sustainability investors, that they bring that message, or it's really integrated and embedded in the core business of the company.
So, and this brings us to the kind of the communication of that. For investor relations officers, there can be frustration. They might have a great sustainability story, but throughout dozens, if not hundreds, of meetings with institutional investors, it never comes up. The question is never asked. Do you have any suggestions to companies about how they can bring it into the conversation?
I think it's important to take into consideration that there is a certain number of investors which takes a special interest to this topic, as Robeco and Robeco SAM do, and by using, let's say, that group of investors to set up, for instance, a sustainability roundtable and get them to actually, as a larger group, provide feedback on your sustainability strategy, on certain targets you set, the way you report on it. I think that's how they can actually unlock the sustainability value which they have to a group of leaders in asset management. And I'm sure that it will, let's say, trickle down also to mainstream investors who will also pick up on the value of these kind of meetings and probably use that as a way to also use that kind of information in their, let's say, general meetings which they would have with investor relations.